Kaleeswaram Raj. Let me quickly bring in Mr. Kaleeswaram Raj. Mr. Kaleeswaram Raj, one set of the argument is that perhaps this is being orchestrated to create an argument that law and order is not right in the state, and perhaps even look at the governor sending some sort of a message to the union government about this. On the other hand, you've already had hints coming in from the Chief Minister saying that we'll be left with no other option but to seek his removal. What are the possibilities or options in front of both the governor and the state government, sir?
In fact, there is no requirement to have any kind of option as far as the governor is concerned. So I would think that the grievance which he has highlighted in public domain is essentially fallacious and wrong. As regarding the chief minister and as regarding, more importantly, as regarding the general public in the state, there is a genuine grievance. And that grievance is that the governor has become the biggest hindrance in the process of governance. That's an irony, which the constitution or the forefathers of the constitution did not foresee. The problem is essentially the governor, one after the other, is creating problems in the state, is sitting over the bills, and as it has been already indicated, after sitting over the bill for a substantially long period only, he has referred it to the president, which again will be called in question in the Supreme Court, which was absolutely unwarranted. And more importantly, you see, one among the bills over which he has sat over was the bill which sought to remove him as the chancellor of the universities in the state. Without universities in the state, it was without giving an assent to that bill and sitting over that bill, without even sending it back, he has ultimately sent it to the president, for which reason we do not know. To my knowledge, there is no reason for the governor to send it to the president. It is purely a Kerala enactment.
But Mr. Raj, what is the way out now? Can the state government approach the union government seeking his removal, or once again, do they have to knock on the doors of the Supreme Court?
That's what I'm coming to. There are two ways. One is the Supreme Court may do something about it in the pending case, provided the writ petition is appropriately amended.
Yes.
The second thing, which is a remote possibility, is that the appointing authority of the governor, which means the president, practically which means the center, the Union of India, the government at the center, will be able to recall him. And that is one possibility. Yes. Constitutionally, that is possible. Only the appointing authority can remove the appointee, is the fundamental thing. But the problem is that by sitting over the bill which sought to remove him, he is going to the university, creating all these problems, making all these havocs, which lacks democratic legitimacy. That's my point. So ultimately, the central government will have to do something about it. We'll have to take a call on this.
Okay, you're saying the union government will have to do something. Mr. Brittas, you've already said that in fact the governor is acting at the behest of the union government and the RSS. Do you see a midway here where the governor and the government can reach some sort of a understanding or a consensus? Or will this continue? Because it doesn't look like the union government now would want to intervene at this point in time, sir.
Harish, I am seeing a design behind the disruption that is being unleashed by Governor Arif Murugan. And maybe there could be a lot of frustration and suffocation which he would be having it, because he had aimed for a constitutional post which he couldn't get it. That could be another facet of his frustration. But see, the interesting thing is that if the Prime Minister, in fact, indeed, is serious about what he speaks, that he wants the cooperation of the states and the federal cooperation which he intends to, that is cooperative federalism, he should immediately take back this huge asset from Kerala. And naturally, they can utilize this asset anywhere else, because this so-called governor has been of utility to at least half a dozen political parties and have landed in BJP.
If that doesn't happen, what are the options, sir?
Naturally, you should understand it's a democratically elected government. See, Kerala people are not fools to, stomach all these idiocracies that are being served. And further, if the Kerala people or the Malayalis are showing black flag, the Supreme Court of India is showing red flag at governors. There are two sets of regional entities in India. One is ED affected areas and also governor affected areas. So all those opposition rule states are supposed to be ED plus
But are
governor.
you ruling out the possibility of Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan reaching out to the governor, having some sort of a truce with him?
See, the
Is that ruled out?
chief
both
minister
ends.
chief minister has been always open to discussions, discourses, deliberations with the governor or anybody else. I can tell you when governor was sitting on the bills, the chief minister consciously deputed his ministers, concerned ministers, to explain the rationale of each legislation. And the Supreme Court commended that 23 months you were sitting on the bill. Then I would say, all of a sudden, when the Supreme Court was here in this case, he's dispatched these bills
But
to.
sir, are you finding support because your alliance partners in the India alliance, the Congress itself, doesn't seem to be backing you on this? You've seen Mr. Shashi Tharoor's tweet.
There is nothing called one Congress in this country. There are too many Congress. I would say the Kamal Nath's Congress in Madhya Pradesh is diametrically opposite to another Congress, say in Telangana. The Congress in Kerala is playing a dirty game. Let me just come to one point Mr. Kaleeswaram Raja said. He is a legal luminary and he understands the nuances. See, there are two sets of functions for the government. One is constitutional functions, which the BJP spokesperson should understand. That, of course, comes under Article 161 like that. And second is that statutory functions, which the Kerala Assembly must have given to him, extended to him. The so-called chancellorship of a university is given to him. That position is given to him by a statute passed by the Kerala Assembly, and it is for the Kerala Assembly to amend it or to withdraw it. So now he is saying that he is the chancellor. Where did he get this chancellorship? The chancellorship has been granted to him by a law passed by the Kerala Assembly, and it is the prerogative of the Kerala Assembly to amend it. So now what he has done, he has sent this bill to the Rashtrapati. That's why Honorable Kaleeswaram said that. See, having sat on the bill, having sent back this bill to the Rashtrapati, yes, absolutely.
I'll take one final word from Mr. Kaleeswaram Raj. Mr. Kaleeswaram Raj, already, as you rightly mentioned, certain aspects of this before the Supreme Court. Everybody is looking at the Supreme Court on whether the Supreme Court will set a guidelines on how governors go about accepting, rejecting bill or sitting on it. Do you believe certain other aspects too need to be brought into this entire case where the Supreme Court decides about who appoints the Chancellor, the Senate members and other aspects, because that's been a grey area here?
In fact, there has been a recommendation by the Punji Commission in 2010, which said clearly that there will have to be some measure at the state level or at the national level to abolish the extra burdens on the governor, like this chancellorship, etc., and other statutory positions, in which case the governor will be rather freed from these extra burdens and will be able to focus on the constitutional duties as a governor per se. This was precisely what was attempted by the state legislature. That is one thing. Then coming to your question, the Supreme Court is considering several issues related to the present position, the discharge of his function as the governor. Necessarily, the Supreme Court may have to consider the question of fixing a time limit for taking the final decision on the bills which are sent to the legislature, which are sent to the governor by the legislature, because ultimately it is only a kind of action which will have to endorse ultimately the will expressed by the public, by the people through the legislative assembly. Then the Supreme Court also will have to say, unfortunately, something with respect to the conduct of the governor. In an earlier case, Rameshwar Prasad, in 2006, the Supreme Court had said that that was a case from Bihar, that the right persons should be only the right persons should be appointed as the governor. Sarkaria Commission said so many things about the man